that we've done. And thank you very much for those who keep coming back for more. Today we've got 3 presentations. I'll tell you what those are in a second. And then at the end, I've got a sort of few questions I'd like to throw out to you people, because the feedback might be interesting. Well, hopefully it will be interesting for me, and it'll be interesting hopefully for you guys listening in on this. So we'll do it on chat buttons, but also I might ask someone to elaborate on a certain topic if that, and we'll see how that goes at the end. So, but I hope you've all had a good week. There is a sort of interesting dynamic, I think, going on in the events industry and the hospitality industry. We'll hear from 2 of our presenters today how they're seeing things, but it looks like October is really the start for meetings and events, obviously with regulations and stipulations. I mean, I read somewhere the other day that someone if you wanted to do a wedding for 250 people or 200 people, you could book a 747 to do the reception and have the bride and have the wedding breakfast in a Wetherspoon. So there is a sort of slight anomaly with what's going on. In some environments you can put a lot of people, and then other environments if you can't put people. But it looks very hopeful, as if October is the start, and that's obviously why we're going to be holding a real live showcase on the 6th of October. Obviously that's dependent on viral rates and all this, but Britain actually seems to be doing quite well at the moment compared to Europe, but whether or not that's going to be set back again, who knows, anyone's guess. But hopefully, we're getting on top of this. But we'll hear more about that from sort of our presenters as well as we go on. So this morning we have got Serge, who is in the RAF Club on Piccadilly, and he'll be talking to us about the RAF Club. We've got Alison Morton from the Marriott Hotels, and she's got 3 or 4 properties she's going to tell us about, fantastic properties. And then we've got our very own Clifford Rosen, who is going to be talking about a fabulous venue, which I've not been to, called Strawberry Hill, which probably most of you sort of is sort of something you think about in the Beatles song, but we're going to find out more about that. So, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Serge, who is at the RAF Club, and rather a sort of presidential desk, I think, Serge. It looks fantastic there. But I'll hand over to you now. Good morning, Serge.
Thank you, Guy. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Serge Friday, Food and Beverage Director at the Royal Air Force Club, where I've actually been based here since day 1 of COVID-19, as we hosted the club for our key workers, in fact. So that was great. So we've been prepared for COVID-19 since day 1. I'm going to put the presentation up.
Great, we can see that now, Serge. That's good. I think wonderful.
Excellent. So, just tell you a little bit about the club. Over 100 years of exclusivity, we have celebrated our 100th anniversary in 2018 with a visit by our royal patron, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, combining RAF and aviation heritage with the host of excellent modern facilities, accommodation, and dining. The club currently counts around 25,000 officers and former serving officers of the Royal Air Force and their families as valued members. Members and guests enjoy a home from home in central London and a warm welcome in a historic environment. You can hold your corporate private event at the club, benefit from a wonderful Grade 2 listed building, and obviously in the heart of Mayfair, which is perfect, just opposite Green Park, and stone's throw from Buckingham Palace. We have great food and great service, and we're very proud to entertain such prestigious surroundings. We call ourselves the best club of London. We are obviously our little gem in heart of Mayfair. With our exclusive history and royal pedigree, we specialize in events that require unique venue, prestigious, secure Mayfair location, and discreet approach to organization. We like to have ourselves called hidden gem for event organizers in the know. Our vast array of meetings and conference rooms make the Royal Air Force Club a perfect venue for corporate and business events. We happily accommodate all types of functions, from meetings and conferences to networking events, product launches, dinners, cocktail receptions. Each event is treated with the care and attention it deserves, with guests guaranteed a memorable experience when they spend time with us here at the club. Obviously, a little bit of our selection of food cooked by our executive chef, Michael Dutnall. We can do a large conference of 140 that will be treated in with same care and attention as an exclusive gourmet dinner for 8. We have menus complemented with a wide variety of wines from selected from New World and Old World, which I select and match and pair with. So obviously, nice place, lovely place to come and entertain. Now, in the Sovereign Room, you will see that we have set up to 120 comfortable. Obviously, we can do 30 comfortable, very comfortable at the moment. The room actually takes its name from our royal patron, Her Majesty the Queen, and features a unique portrait by award-winning artist Ben Sullivan, pictured top right. So unveiled by Her Majesty the club at the club centenary in 2018. Notice the detail, and I don't think you can see the detail on this one. If I go back to zoom in on the painting, there's a very important bag. That's the Queen's bag. And actually, there we are. You can see it there. So this is the focus on the painting, the Queen's bag. And obviously, she's wearing the RAF club colors. So there we are. So this is the presence room. Classic, versatile room located on the first floor of the club. The elegant presence room is decorated with portraits of the current president and distinguished past presidents of the club. Accessed via the club's memorable squadron badge corridor, which is obviously the 600 squadron badges we very proudly have on the wall. This is suitable for a small conference or a medium-sized meeting, drink reception, dinners, and obviously another small dinner again on the very sort of boardroom table. The adjoining Victoria Bar has a full bar actually, with ales on tap, perfect to pre-drink or cash bar. Breakout station can be used in conjunction with the larger Sovereign rooms, which is on the opposite side. This is the presence room set up with 3 tables as a meeting, as a conference. Then we move to same floor, Hodges room. The Hodges room is situated on the same corridor, commemorates Chief Marshal Sir Louis Hodges, who was instrumental in securing the future of the Royal Air Force Club. So his name is Sir Louis Hodges. The outstanding room offers a truly magnificent setting for formal dining, with 2 beautiful chandeliers hanging from the ornate ceiling. This room is the ideal space for any meeting or special occasion for up to 30 guests, obviously at the moment probably 10, or can accommodate 40 guests for a standing cocktail reception. On the positive note, we have actually started doing small meetings and small events up to 30. We've had a few, actually, we've had 4 or 5 since 4th of July, so that's really, really good. And our dining room is fully booked every night. We have about 50, 60 covers every night, and about 30, 40 for lunch. And about this morning we did nearly 50 for breakfast, so it's picking up. Obviously, the very, just going back to this one, yes. So this is the Battle of Britain. This is where I'm speaking you from actually at the moment. The Battle of Britain suite is a modern yet classic suite on the lower ground floor, which incorporates both the Spitfire room and the Hurricane room. Obviously, as names of our planes, and works very well for presentations and meetings. The extremely well-equipped room with combined room dimensions of 15 by 4.9 meters, for you the details, can be used as one large conference area for up to 60 people, or hold the cocktail reception for up to 80 people. Individually, the two spaces work well for meetings or private dining for up to 20 people in each, and with a sliding door between the two spaces. So that's actually quite a large space between the two. Can also be used as a breakout space or a pre-drink area. And when we have weddings, we also use it as a dancing area, as it is on the lower ground floor. And we have a lovely pub across the corridor called the Running Horse. And if you fancy a pint of Spitfire, then perfect. So that's the room showing a meeting setup and obviously conference. Then the Lancaster room, that's located just behind the Battle of Britain. That's one of our new additions. Small room, great for a small meeting and a small lunch. Again, located directly opposite the Running Horse. So again, if you fancy a nice pint, we can just bring it over. Then we have a boardroom, small boardroom, that's located behind the dining room on the ground floor. It's very intimate space, natural daylight. It is an affordable solution for small meetings, lunches, and dinner for up to 8. We obviously do have the Zoom facilities in most rooms. So again, we've adapted to COVID-19. The library is a really wonderful room. This is the historic club library, actually, filled with aviation, literature, and trophies. It's available for exclusive evening events. Medals and memorabilia line the walls, making this magnificent room boasting real atmosphere and history, ideal for bespoke private dinners for up to 24 people. So great, so it's sort of a boarded room with lots of books. Very interesting library. Just before the library, you find the Churchill Bar. The Churchill Bar is named after Sir Winston Churchill, whose likeness gazes down from above the wool panel bar. The imposing Churchill Bar is most frequently used for pre-dinner drinks, receptions, prior to larger city dinner or events. So that's located on the ground floor as you walk into the corridor. And then we call you for dinner up to the sovereign rooms or any other rooms that you may have booked for your dinner. Works very well combined with a private dinner in the library as well. Great sort of pre-dinner drink area. Obviously, this is a great squadron badge corridor, which has the famous badge of the Dam Buster, which is squadron badge number 617 or 617. That's it from me. I have hope you've listened to me carefully, because I have a question for the price, which is a bottle of the club champagne, the RAF Club Champagne. When was the club founded? What year was the club founded? Thank you.
So thank you very much. I think the RAF Club is a wonderful building, and obviously, you know, if you do take an event there, you do step into this sort of very special part of the sort of British heritage, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And you know, I think obviously in a wonderful location on just opposite Green Park up on Piccadilly, a very prestigious venue indeed, and I think really wonderful. Thank you, Serge. Clifford. Clifford's going to present Strawberry Hill, about which I know very little indeed. So I'm looking forward to learning more. Over to you, Clifford.
Thank you, Guy. Now, I've got so many windows open at the moment. Let me get myself organised. Yes, Strawberry Hill is, the reason I'm presenting it, by the way, is Adam, sadly, from Strawberry Hill couldn't be with us this morning, and I was there last week because I'm actually having an event of my own next week. So not next week, next year. So I thought I'd talk about it, having just been there. And it's an amazing place. So let me share my screen. Okay. Now, Strawberry Hill, just while I run this, let me tell you a little bit about the background because it's fascinating. It's a Gothic castle from the 18th century, which was commissioned and built by Horace Walpole, who was born in 1717 and was a very pivotal character in the 18th century in literature, art, architecture, politics, and was the son of Sir Robert Walpole, our first Prime Minister. And he was the author of The Castle of Otranto, which was the world's first Gothic novel. And he founded the Strawberry Hill House and its collection of treasures. He discovered it and started it in 1747 when he bought what was called Chopped Straw Hall. And it was one of the last remaining sites on the Thames in what was then very fashionable Twickenham. He transformed a couple of cottages and into his vision of a Gothic castle with pinnacles, battlements, and a round tower. And it became a tourist attraction in his lifetime. It became very interesting to local inhabitants, and he in fact allowed 4 visitors a day, few at a time, which kind of resonates now really. And the tours were conducted by his housekeeper, and he had a lot of rules about what they could do, and he didn't allow children, which are quite understandable. He entertained ambassadors, royalty, aristocracy, some of whom lived locally. And it was really at the forefront of the Gothic revival in architecture in the 18th and 19th centuries, and taking its inspiration from cathedrals around Europe. He died in 1797, and it came down through the family, who were in the main, they were called Waldegrave, and in fact the house is on Waldegrave Road. It was sold to the Distern family in 1879, and then they sold it in 1923 to St Mary's University College, who still own it, and they own quite a lot of the land around there. It was restored with £10 million of lottery money, and is now what you see today. So, let me get rid of that. Let's go. So where is it? It is, Strawberry Hill is over near Twickenham. It's near the river. Originally it had land right down to the water's edge, but it doesn't now, but it has got some lovely gardens, as you'll see in a second. If you can all see what I'm looking at, it's very close to Strawberry Hill Station. That's a 5-10 minute walk. And that's on the Waterloo line from memory through Clapham Junction. In fact, I get it to Twickenham, which is up here somewhere. So, what can they do there? Pretty much everything. It's the most extraordinary place. It is as Gothic can be. You'd never know it's there. It's on a road. It's got a rather lovely crescent-shaped drive, which is fantastic for drop-off points. But they can do parties, corporate, and obviously a lot of weddings. It's an incredible, it's sort of an unblank canvas, but you can use it for anything you want. Now, in the centre here, which was on that little video just now, is what I thought was just the most incredible room, which was Horace Walpole's library. And the way they do it for events is that some rooms are open for hire and some are not. But what they tend to do is just rope off the room so you can have a look at them during an event, but not go in. But the majority of the rooms are open for hire. Now, I'm not going to read all this out to you, and of course, please do follow up, and I can introduce you to Adam, who can go through in much more detail. But as you can see here, they have various different packages and rental hire options, and the whole thing is run by Bovingdon's Catering, who are extremely good. And in fact, a few weeks ago, some of you may remember Fulham Palace, which is also run by them. So it's the same team. They have different dining options. They have different number options. Obviously, menus are open to creation. All different manner of standing receptions, and also wedding packages. There are different options on wedding packages and corporate events. They do a very good line-in away day, so you can have team building in one room, breakout rooms, a big dinner, a large lunch, things outside. So it's an impressive place, and I know the name, the words hidden gem are used very often, but this really is something. So much so that I'm having a party there next summer, assuming we're allowed to.
That'll be your 50th birthday, is it?
Yes, thank you, Guy. I'll take that. The one other thing that Adam asked me to pass on was that if anyone books an event of, I would imagine any kind, I suspect he'd probably want more than 3 people, but if anyone books an event of any kind, that booker will receive a case of champagne. So do bear that in mind. If you're tempted to book something, you'll get that. But no, it's an incredible place, and I've never seen anything like it, and to have this sort of relatively on our doorsteps is extraordinary. So I would definitely consider it for any kind of event.
Thank you, Clifford. It looks fantastic, and actually, just when I glanced at the venue fee of £1,500 is extremely reasonable for sort of a palace like that. So very interesting. And I'd imagine from Waterloo down to sort of, well, I don't know, it's probably only about 20 minutes from Waterloo.
It is. I mean, I know it well because it's the Twickenham train, and the train, it stops there, and Richmond and so on. So it's all that neck of the woods. So it's not it's really not that far. They've obviously got parking there as well, but there's not a photograph here, but the drop-off point, there's this Crescent Drive so one can drive in a taxi or anything and be dropped off at the front door, and there's a sort of almost like there's a Gothic gatehouse, and you walk through that into the house, and then the scene at the back that you were just looking at is revealed at the back of the house. So it's a great place, very good.
Thank you, Clifford. That's really interesting. I look forward to visiting, and hopefully before next year. But I've had to save the date. Thank you. Alison, good morning. Welcome. And thank you for sharing with us today some of the properties you look after. I know you've got a huge portfolio, but welcome. And I'm going to hand over to you, Alison. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Guy, and hello everyone. I'm just going to introduce myself while I start to share my screen. But yes, I'm Alison. I work for Marriott Hotels in London, and specifically the Marriott London Park Lane Hotel. We're located here at the top of Park Lane, just on the corner of Oxford Street. But I just wanted to take some time today to really just give you a very quick overview on our portfolios of properties that we have available across the city. And then we're just going to focus on 2 or 3 of the hotels that we have open at the moment. I think most importantly, though, something that I wanted to talk about is all the work that's been going on in the background over the last few months around our commitment to clean. I think it's definitely something that I personally get the most questions on when I'm talking to our customers and to our previous clients, and I think everyone's very interested to understand what we're doing and what we have done in order to be able to get our hotels open and create a very safe environment. So I will run through that along with an overview of what properties we have, what current rates and offers we have in the market right now, which is across the board in the UK. And then I'll just go into a little bit more detail on 3 of our key hotels that are currently open. So the Park Lane property where I'm based today, the Marriott London County Hall, and then the Renaissance St Pancras as well. So 3 of our key 5-star luxury hotels within central London. And then we'll finish with a competition, giving everyone the chance to win an overnight stay here in the fabulous Park Lane. So just to start off then, as I mentioned, our commitment to clean, something very, very important, something a lot of work has gone into at the moment from a global perspective across our brand. So as everyone probably is aware, we're the biggest global hotel chain out there, and it's so important that this messaging and that everything we're doing around this is done correctly, so that our guests and our customers and our associates can feel safe as they're coming into our properties. I think it's very important to highlight that what will never change within the company is our commitment to making sure that guests, associates and our customers are safe, and that they are the absolute uttermost priority. So we recently launched a global cleanliness council. This included experts from a field of medicines, public health, and it really helped to supplement the reputation for cleanliness and the hospitality that we've built within our history. We've developed 200 and more cleaning protocols throughout each step of our guest journey, and every physical space in the hotel has been thought of and been covered. So from the bedrooms to the public areas to the event spaces to spa to golf, where we have that across hotels as well. And we're really deploying scientifically supported practices and innovations with the focus on these specific priorities. So I won't go into every single one, like we will be able to share this deck afterwards so you can have some more details around it, but just wanted to highlight a few key things that you will see in any of the Marriott properties that you are using at the moment. So when it comes to deeper, more frequent cleaning, it's things like some of these things may sound very obvious, but sanitizing stations will be very visible in all public spaces throughout the hotels. Much more rigorous cleaning processes in place, so every hour, things like the banisters, elevator buttons, anything really public is being cleaned on a much more regular basis by our associates, whoever is there to be able to do that. There's been a lot of training that's been launched as well that every Marriott associate has had to do. When it comes to guest rooms, upon checkout, like that room will be left empty for 24 hours before our associates are even allowed to go in there to start that cleaning process. And then when they do go in, it's a very deep clean process. Anything unused, such as amenities, such as slippers, bathrobes, etc., things that typically if they've not been used would have perhaps been left, are now being completely taken out of the room, quarantined themselves for a few days, so that everything new goes into the room for the guests. Cushions, decorative cushions, for example, like you'll see a very big difference in the rooms, like they've been removed completely, along with any paper, anything really that's just not necessary now to be in the room has been taken out, except for amenities. We don't want to obviously impact the luxuries that people do want when they come to stay within hotels. We've also added disinfectant wipes into all of the rooms as well. We're really trying to encourage a lot more of our mobile check-in, which is available throughout the company. So being able to check in on your mobile phone and have a keyless experience, i.e. using your mobile to access our elevators and then eventually access your guest door, which means a lot less interaction with our front desk staff. It really is a case of then just coming to register that you're here and signing a registration card, which I think as well really helps people to feel a lot safer. Our setups in our food and beverage offerings, whether that's the event spaces or the restaurants, lounges, bars, they've been changed dramatically. Obviously, social distancing measures have been put into place, but as well as that, you'll see that there's a lot of one-way systems. No buffets don't really exist anymore. Anything you know, where there's multiple touch points have been completely reduced down. So it really is a case of a new normal at the moment, some big changes in how we're operating, but so far so good. We've had hotels open from the 4th of July when we were allowed to be open, and things are working very well. We're really making use of QR codes as well at the moment instead of menus, instead of signage, again, just to limit the number of touch points that our guests and associates have, you know, have to come into anything. So just moving on to our portfolio that we have in London. So this is a good graphic of a map that just helps you to very clearly see our 20 managed properties that we have throughout the city. So you can see they're really spread out very well within the central London area. So where you see the number 1, number 5, number 3, for example, that's sort of our Mayfair, our more 5-star luxurious properties that we have within that cluster. And then moving out a little bit towards northwest London, so up in Swiss Cottage, Regent's Park, Marble Arch, we have some 4-star properties as well. So again, just offering something at a slightly different price point. You can see that we have 5 properties out at Heathrow. Number 13 is our Kensington, the Marriott Kensington. It's a 4-star hotel currently having a nice big renovation happening. So when that property reopens, it will be brand new. And a really fabulous little hotel. Number 9 then is the Marriott London County Hall, right in front of the London Eye, so a property that I'll talk about in a bit more detail shortly. And then out towards the east of London, you can see we also have a few hotels there, so a couple in Canary Wharf, and then we have the Aloft London XL, which is our hotel that's attached to the XL Convention Centre, so obviously a very popular property for any attendees attending anything happening out at XL, and it's the only hotel that's physically attached to XL, so it's in a great location. So I specifically represent Park Lane, but of course any questions relating to anything, you can all feel free to reach out, and I'll always be happy to direct you to the right person or help you where I can. Just before we move on to details of the actual hotels, I just thought as well it would be a good opportunity to share with you a little bit of information around what we currently have out there in the market in terms of rates and offers, which I think is quite important at the moment, just given you know, the climate that we're in. As I say, like, we have managed to open some of our hotels since July. It's been really positive so far in terms of we are seeing pickup coming back, and I think that these promotions and offers out there are really helping to drive that for us. So across our whole UK portfolio, so within London and also within the rest of the UK, Marriott have a welcome back promotion that you will find online on Marriott.com. And for any Marriott Bonvoy members, so Bonvoy being our loyalty program, which is free to join, the offer is 25% off the regular rates plus free breakfast for whoever is staying within the room. So this is an offer that is through our direct channels, so whether that be by our phone call or by booking online, you will be able to get those offers, and they're completely visible on Marriott.com. For non-members, the discount is slightly less at 15%. However, as I mentioned, it's free to join Bonvoy, so a very easy process for someone to just enroll in order to get the deeper discount. So that's really helped us since we've been able to open hotels. We see most of the bookings coming through transiently at these rates and promotions at the moment. Our hotels outside of London are doing exceptionally well. Some of them, I have to say, are doing even better than same time time last year, and it's definitely the trend at the moment with the staycation travel that we're seeing. It really is having a positive impact on our golf and country clubs, for example, and a lot of the hotels that are located in a more sort of suburban area versus some of the cities, which are also doing well, but it's a very different type of travel that we see at the moment. As well as transient rates and offers, we also have a great promotion in place at the moment for groups and events. So we've recently launched this promotion, which is called Triple Treats. And this is a promotion that's actually valid across all of our hotels in Europe, the Middle East and Africa. So it's available from now until the 31st of March next year. And it offers planners basically a trio of benefits that they can pick, from complimentary delegate rooms to additional Bonvoy points to 5% off the master bill, everything that you can see on the screen there. So this is really trying to focus on what we think is important in terms of value adds for the customers at the moment, and really trying to give them some great value in return, and for their loyalty, and for considering our properties for their events. And I think even more important at the moment, the question that comes up all the time when anyone is looking at an event is we've really looked at what we can do to be as flexible as we can when it comes to terms and conditions. And we wanted to be proactive in this rather than wait for those questions to come. So we've launched flexible terms and conditions with this promotion, with social distancing being so imperative, and with that changing so much at the moment, with government guidance changing almost every day across different markets within Europe. So therefore, like the bookings, smaller bookings, so anything up to a value of £20,000, you now basically have the flexibility to cancel up to 72 hours with absolutely no cancellation fees. So that's a really, really important point for us to get across. For anything bigger than that, we still want to be flexible, probably not quite as flexible for stuff that's bigger, but we will always discuss everything on a case-by-case basis with the hotel teams directly, and do what we can to make sure that that the clients are feeling very much in control of what can happen, and that they don't feel that they're going to have a penalty should something dramatically change within a specific market. So this is a fabulous promotion. As I say, it's available right now for bookings until the 31st of March. That may well be extended. I don't have information on that yet, but definitely for the short term, it's something to consider. And as I say, it's across the whole of Europe, the Middle East and Africa. So any questions, please do feel free to let me know. So just moving on to some of the properties that I mentioned, I'm only going to focus on 3 at the moment, and we just have an overview of a few images across the slides, but can share more details if people need anything or have any questions towards the end. So starting with the London Marriott Hotel Park Lane, where I'm based today. So this is one of our smaller, most luxury Marriott properties that we have within our portfolio in London. We're located right at the top of Park Lane, directly opposite Hyde Park, for anyone that doesn't know the hotel. You can see in that main image there, you might recognize the building. It's right on the corner of Oxford Street by Marble Arch, directly in front of Marble Arch Underground Station. So location wise, it is fabulous for whatever the purpose of travel, whether it's business or for leisure or for incentive group or whatever is happening. It is a really, really brilliant location and really easily accessible to everything. It's one of the more boutique hotels of the Marriott family, so it's 152 rooms and suites in total, and you can see some of the imagery there of the style of our rooms. The property was last renovated in 2015, and it had a really full-on major renovation, and it really has a very homely feel to it. We really focus on personalized service and boutique service in this property. Originally, the building itself was the first residential apartments located on Park Lane. So when we took this renovation on, the focus was all around keeping that very residential feel, and you can see like our suites have a very homely feel with the colours that are used, with the interiors and the design work that's been done. And we often find like the type of guests that like to stay in this property when it comes to corporate, for example, we don't tend to do too much of like the mainstream travel. It tends to be a lot more of kinds of C-level VIPs, you know, VPs of companies that want to stay somewhere, you know, to still enjoy all the benefits of Marriott, but have a more luxury and elevated experience. You can see all the bathrooms are marble, and then even like the lobby area that you can see in that bottom picture there. You can see again, it feels more like a living room. Our approach to check-in is very personalized, sitting down at the desk, really engaging with our associates where possible, even though now, of course, with social distancing, there has been a few changes to the look of that. Leisure-wise, we do have great leisure facilities too, with the club at Park Lane, which is located within the basement of the hotel. So we have a gym with the only swimming pool located on Park Lane as well. So again, during these times at the moment, we are seeing quite a bit of leisure travel, and the swimming pool is definitely popular. So we had that open straight away when the hotel opened again. Meeting space wise, this hotel is great for small meetings. It's very intimate. We just have 3 meeting rooms, all located on one dedicated floor, so in a private space within the hotel. Now obviously with social distancing in place, capacities have changed to what they were at the start of the year, but we can still accommodate you know, small boardrooms up to 15 people, or receptions and dinners for slightly more, so up to around 35 people for a reception, and you would be able to do up to 20-25 for a dinner within the meeting space. Our restaurant and bar is slightly bigger and can do slightly bigger numbers, and again that can be used for a private function as well. So just moving on to County Hall then. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this property due to its absolutely fabulous location. And this property really embraces history and luxury together. It's located on the South Bank, right in front of Big Ben, the London Eye, the Houses of Parliament. And it was the former City Hall. So it really embodies a lot of storied history, and it's all about this quintessentially British feeling, which is what the hotel aims to give all of its guests and delegates that come there. All of the bedrooms have an amazing location, whether that's facing directly onto the London Eye or onto Big Ben or onto the Houses of Parliament. It is such an iconic place, and you know, for meetings, for groups, for corporate travel, leisure travel, it's super popular.
Alison, I'm going to have to speed you up a little bit because I know people have to leave.
Apologies. You know. Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Jump through this to the next slides. I mean, I think the images, to be honest, say it all. When you can see the restaurants, the bars, the meeting space, you can see basically that they're looking out onto Big Ben. Capacity wise, again, social distancing measures in place, but the property still can cater really well for corporate meetings, corporate events, up to 70 people in this hotel. I'll jump onto the next thing because of time, but any questions, feel free to just let me know at the end. So I just wanted to touch on the Renaissance St Pancras as well, another property that's currently open, one of our most iconic buildings, as again you're probably all aware, located at King's Cross St Pancras Station. Fantastic venue for events. You know, they've got 12 different spaces altogether, and they can cater up to 70 people for a reception. Between the lounges, the bars, or the meeting space that they have just over 240 bedrooms as well in the hotel, all with a very historic feeling to them. And you know, you can see from the images again that it is definitely one of our more luxury properties with lots of history to it. The spa and gym are due to open at the end of August. They haven't quite got those open yet, but they do have restaurants, their lounge is open, the swimming pool is open, and there's the option to do private dining. One thing they did want me to mention as well is just that they have launched some great meeting packages at these hotels, starting from just £400 for their smaller meeting rooms, and then around £800 for their slightly bigger ones. So some really good offers available for anyone wanting to hold a meeting in that location.
I think architecturally, I think the St Pancras Renaissance is one of the most wonderful buildings in London, actually. I think it's fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's so iconic. Definitely, I would say our most iconic hotel that we have within the Marriott portfolio in London. Yeah, so I mean, as I say, like lots more detail on everything, but any questions, just let us know, and we will of course get the information over to you. And then, yeah, obviously wanted to finish on a very positive note with a nice competition. So we're giving away an overnight stay here at Park Lane property. And the question, as you can see up on your screens there, is what facility makes the London Marriott Hotel Park Lane unique to any other hotels located on Park Lane?
Alison, thank you so much indeed. That's brilliant. And obviously, what a portfolio of properties you have. It's fantastic. We'll forward any questions to you. Sorry to cut you a bit short there.
Okay.
Right, I'm going to ask a few questions, and I think it's going to be a bit, and then we'll do the prizes after that. It might be difficult. I'm going to keep the chat button open and see who I can spot, and then Clifford might try and, if someone needs to vocalize something. So what I was sort of wanting to know really is, are the organizations within which you work and or represent starting to discuss events for next year? Is the Christmas party still a possibility? Should it be allowed, or are your organizations saying, no, we're not going to be doing any events, in the foreseeable future? So and as other people working away. So it's quite interesting for us to know what's being said out there, because we're sort of virtually blind in that. And are any of you holding sort of using streaming events, sort of half live, half hybrid? Are you streaming events at the moment? And are you using studios to do that, or are you doing that from your office? If anyone has anything on that, are you all going back to your offices yet, or are you still working from home? And are you being said that the opening time is September, or is it looking at the autumn, or they're saying come back next year? So anyone who's got anything. So Jade, you'd like to organize a hybrid event, but not sure the tech side of this or how to do that. Well, I'll not ask you the question, because if you don't know the answer to that, but what I'll do is I'll get in touch with you, because we know some people who are setting up studios at the moment where you can do sort of a limited audience. One I'm thinking of, you can do an audience of about 70 now, and you can then sort of say you can have, but then you could stream to any number of people. So I'll get the details of that to you. But if are people, the real thing is, are people starting to talk about events, or is it something that's just not happening yet? Also, I'd like to know, we've done, so this is 15 showcases we've done. We've introduced 45. Wait a minute, just let me read this. 1st of October for us were events and small numbers back in the office, and still planning for non-socially distanced Christmas. Well, that's good to hear, Davina. I mean, it's, I know some of the bigger organizations like Smart Group, Concerto Group, which I used to own, and they've reduced their Christmas packaging, but I'm hoping that there is going to be Christmas parties. Streaming events using ON24, supposedly back in September, and holding events in October. Great, but I think the industry is very optimistic about the 1st of October, the start time, and there was an article in the conference news about that. So hopefully we will start to see them. So we've introduced you guys, and so some of you have seen some and not all, but to about 45 venues or suppliers. I'd like to ask which have been the most memorable, and if you would use any of the ones possibly that you've seen, and has this broadened your venue knowledge? because that's really the purpose of this, so that you're better equipped when you go back into an events environment in the future. I hope it is useful. We don't know. I mean, obviously, numbers on attending are slightly down at the moment. That's because people are managing to get away. And feel free, to type. Do you think we're flogging a dead horse here, and we should go and have ourselves a holiday, or do you think we should crack on with it? We've got 3 fantastic venues lined up for next week, but we'd be very, very, but we would take a break. But I think let us know what you think. I mean, if you might be bored of my face, although I was away for a week, but with any feedback is gratefully received, and we can take the rough with the smooth. Now, I think we've got some, so carry on typing away, but in the meantime, we've got some prize winners. So I'm going to hand over to Clifford. I think you're going to announce the prize winners, aren't you?
Yeah. No, thanks for that, Guy. No, it's interesting. I'm just looking at the chat. I mean, it seems fairly split. Some people are beginning to, by the looks of things, think about some events later in the year and for Christmas, and then obviously a lot are holding back till next year. But generally speaking, I'm glad everyone's enjoying these. So do keep coming back. And of course, we've got our actual showcase live on the 6th of October at the In and Out, subject to other factors, but at the moment we're steaming ahead. And there's the opportunity, as you may have seen in some of our emails, to actually stay at the club on St James's Square. It's obviously a members club and not normally open to the public. But anyone who is booked or registered to go to the club, to our showcase on Tuesday, the 6th of October, has the opportunity of staying at the club. They have 50 bedrooms, and it's a wonderful location. So, make a night of it and enjoy it. And it'll include, rates are pretty reasonable, and it'll include a proper good breakfast the next morning, which I can heartily recommend. Now,
I think next week, Clifford, we ought to put a room up as a prize for that.
One thing to mention here, Clifford, what's the room rate that we're offering? Because Davina's just asked.
I can't remember. It's the member rate, which in itself is pretty good. Yes, I can see that question. The best thing, which I have been doing with a couple of people, is if you register on venueshowcase.co.uk for Showcase Live, when you do the registration process, there's an option to tick the box that says, I am interested in staying at the club, and then I forward that to the GM of the club, and then he will get in touch with you with some pricing and tell you what's what, and then hopefully you'll be interested.
But we'll probably publish the rate next week, won't we?
Yeah, I'm sure I could dig it out and publish that. Now we have some prize winners, because we have the bottle of champagne from Serge at the RAF Club, the club champagne, which I have had before, and it is delicious champagne. And the winner of that prize, oh, someone's just published the race, there you go. The winner of that prize is, do we want, should we do a little music, or bother? No, perhaps not bother this week. And the winner is Agnes. Agnes Sinnott, I think is the surname. So she wins the bottle of champagne. So well done, Agnes. And the winner for the night at the Marriott, Park Lane, wasn't that right, Alison? Was it Park Lane?
Park Lane, yeah.
How lovely. It's not me, unfortunately. It is Dion Neblet, I think that's how it's pronounced. So well done, Dion. You're going to go and stay at the Marriott. As usual, with both our winners, I will do an email intro to Serge and Alison, respectively. And so you can arrange, everything on that front. That's it, Guy, from me. We've got some good people next week, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got 116 Pall Mall, also known as the Institute of Directors, which is reopened now. If you don't know that, that's down on well, as it is on Pall Mall. It's fabulous, big meeting spaces. There Elizabeth Marsh Floral Design, which I'll be very interested to listen to. And I think the Park Tower, Knightsbridge. So I think 3 great presentations. I hope, and in the meantime, all have a very good rest of your weekend, stay safe, and, you know, let's all keep this, you know, unless we hear otherwise on this chat button, we'll keep on going with this. But thank you for joining us all. Cheerio.
Thank you, everyone. I'll
Bye.
be posting the video later. Bye.
Bye, everyone.